Saints Row 2 came out in 2008. I was 4 years old when this game came out, and this is the video that we've all basically been waiting for. Is Saints Row 2 worth it in 2021? I've had this video in the works for such a long time, and I'm pretty excited to finally get it out there, so I hope you enjoy. So in this video, we're going to look at the good of Saints Row 2, the very little bad of Saints Row 2, and then see if I can confidently recommend it to someone who's never played a Saints Row game ever before. So yep, let's go. So first off, we have the title screen. The title screen's pretty fucking epic, okay? So it's got like this little shot of Stillwater with some kick-ass background music and all the options you could ever need. It's pretty basic, but it's pretty cool. And also, if you leave it idle for a little while, you get this cool-ass fucking cinematic of like interviews and shit. It's just really cool, honestly. And honestly, you could sit there for like a solid like 2 minutes just looking at all the stuff they have to offer in the title screen. It's pretty cool. But let's be honest, you're not here to hear me waffle on about the title screen. You want to know about the game and the gameplay. So we'll start off with the gameplay. The gameplay's pretty good. It's genuinely one of the best in the series, if not the best. Everything about it, it's such a fluid, vast, open world game with so much going on all the time. It's just amazing, okay? You can play Saints Row 2 and I guarantee no matter what, you will not be bored. It's one of those games that, like, genuinely just has so much going on and there's so much gameplay in it and so many things you can do that you just won't get bored. It definitely outshines the rest of the games in the series by far. Of course, what's good gameplay without a good map? I mean, you need the map to complement the gameplay, and this game does it pretty fucking well. This game's map is incredible. There is so much going on, no two things are the same. You can drive around Stillwater, and just nothing is the same as it was 2 minutes ago. Every building's different, there's so many, like, different places to visit, different areas. Like, you could be driving through the slums 1 minute, then 2 minutes later you're driving through some ultra skyscrapers. It's just insanely good. This map is arguably one of the best I've played in my life. It's just incredible. It genuinely is just an incredible map, and the gameplay alongside with that just makes it insanely good. There's so many monuments. You got like the museum, you got the huge Altor Dome, then you got all the skyscrapers, you got the Saints HQ, you got your little crib. There's just so much going on that there's so much to explore, and I think it basically made the game last as long as it did, and it's why fans love the Saints Row series so much now. With a great map and great gameplay, the only thing that can complement it is a great story. So what's Saints Row 2's story like? Well, it's melodramatic as shit and awful. Just kidding. It's incredible. It's a great story, honestly. There's so much going on. The characters are insane in it, which we'll get onto in a second. It's got some of the best missions in the game. It's got definitely the best, like, emotional moments. And there's so much going on. Like, Carlos's death actually, like, makes you feel something with the player. The cutscenes are insane. Like, the one where Gat fucking destroys Shogo is such a, like, a memorable cutscene. And it's arguably one of the best in the Saints Row franchise. And I genuinely do think that the story is so gripping that it can be played, like, generations on. So although I touched on it a minute ago, let's go back to the missions. The missions are so good. They always feel like they have an actual meaning. Like in Saints Row 3, sometimes it feels like I'm just doing shit to do shit, you know what I mean? Like Guardian Angel, for example. It just feels like it didn't need to be there. Not with this game. This game, like, does it completely different. Now, yes, it still does have activities as the main story, technically, because you need to do them to get to the main story. So, it's just a different way of doing it to Saints Row 3. But at least they, like, give you the option of which one you want to do and don't force you to do it. And then there's just, like, the insanely complex and interesting missions that are actually in the story. Like, you cannot beat that mission with Julius. That is definitely the best mission in Saints Row history. Like, where that cutscene at the end where you fucking pull that gun on Julius and shoot him. Oh my god. That is just, like, why Saints Row 2 is so good, honestly. Then, of course, we have the characters. The characters are amazing. I feel like every character, besides Pierce, is in their, like, best version. I think Pierce was a bit better in Saints Row 3. That's my opinion. I know people might come at me for that. But he didn't let down the team in Saints Row 2 at all. He was still pretty good in 2. And the rest of the characters are on top form. Gat's a badass. Shaundi a badass. It's all just amazing, and the characters are really good. You got Carlos as well. There's like actual emotions in the characters and shit. Like, this game makes you actually care about the characters, and also the boss is pretty cool in this game. Like, whether you want to be the puckish rogue or the fucking sociopath, it doesn't matter because you can do whatever you want. Honestly, you can just go around and fuck shit up and be the badass you want to be because the boss will just not take shit from anyone. Like, the shit he does to Mero after like Carlos is just unbelievably gritty and just hardcore and gangster as shit. So if you're into a game like that, Saints Row 2 is incredible, even in 2021 standards, and the characters definitely make it have one of the best stories in games I've ever seen before as well. When it comes to customization, Saints Row 2 is at the top of its game, almost. Character customization is incredible as always. There's so much you can do and it really upholds what Saints Row is about. And then there's the crib customization, which is pretty good too. It's the best we've seen. I really wish it came back in Saints Row 3, but what can you do? The only place I'd say it's not as good, though, is the car customization. I just feel like there's less options, less ways to make the car how you want it, and I think Saints Row 3 does do that better, especially with stuff like Underglow being added and shit. I feel like it's just where Saints Row 2 has a small falter, but it doesn't hold back the game by any means, and I think you shouldn't go into it expecting, like, a bad level of customization, because I said this, the customization is completely fine and amazing on cars, just not as good as Saints Row 3, but everything else outshines Saints Row 3. You have layered clothing, you just have all these epic fucking options to choose from, and I wish Saints Row 3 did bring them back, but I feel like you can say that a lot about Saints Row 3. Something I haven't touched on my other Saints Row in 2021 videos is the multiplayer. I haven't played Saints Row multiplayer a large amount at all. I've always kept Saints Row as one of those single player games that just has the co-op aspect. Except with Saints Row 2. I played a lot of Saints Row 2's multiplayer and it's very, very good and fun. Now, I've heard that Saints Row 1's multiplayer is better. I'm not sure, I just didn't play it. But Saints Row 2's is really good and there's a ton of fun to be had with friends, even by now. Of course, finding lobbies is quite hard, so you're going to have to make your own custom lobbies to get, an actual friend group in there to play. But if you can, it is a blast to play in 2021. And better than any other competitor out there for a multiplayer aspect, in my opinion. The fun you can have on that game is just incredible. Even in the lobby, you can go around slapping people with the pimp slap. It's just really fun and shit. So definitely play it if you can. In Saints Row 2, you have some of the most iconic weapons ever. Of course, you have the suspicious bat, and you also have stuff like the pimp slap, the pimp... There's just so much shit to do, weapon-wise. There's tons of options, and I think it definitely has one of the better ranges of weapons in the series now. I'll be honest, again, I prefer Saints Row 3's weapon range, but Saints Row 2's are definitely a strong competitor, and I also think Saints Row 4 has a pretty good weapon range, so, they're all actually pretty good in this aspect. But Saints Row 2 definitely upholds that, and there's definitely a ton of cool shit to do in Saints Row 2, weapon-wise. And you'll definitely have a few laughs if you find some of the very cool, interesting weapons, if you know what I mean. So now I want to touch upon some side activities. Now, these are not the activities like insurance fraud and all that. We'll get onto that in a second. These are even smaller ones, stuff like taxi diversion. There's a lot in this game, actually. There's one that I think you should all try out, though, a lot more than taxi diversion. Go to the casino area where there's a ton of, like, slot machines, and you can play some, like, blackjack and shit, and I thought that was really cool. There's stuff like Zombie Uprising as well, which is incredible to play through. 100% worth picking up the game and playing right now. Like, if you've never done it before, pick up Saints Row 2 right now and play Zombie Uprising, because it's worth putting the game in, just for that alone. It's very fun to play. And then also, like I said, there's blackjack, taxi diversion. There's tons of cool little mini games and stuff you can do, and I think it's important to just acknowledge that. So now I'm going to touch upon the normal activities, and this game has the best activities in the Saints Row series, period. It has some of the most fun things to do ever. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't like the respect bar system in any game. I don't like the fact that I have to do activities to play missions, whether they put it in the story itself or as the respect bar system. Both of them are not fun. But in this game, I disagree with that statement because of how fun the activities are. I don't mind the respect bar, because I usually have enough respect to do everything anyway, because of how much I've played Fight Club, or how much I've done Fuzz. And the fact that it's so cool, I mean, you've got shit like Derby as well. It's so much fun to just fuck about in this game, and it's so great to play. Like I said a minute ago with stuff like the Zombie Uprising, I think that if you've never played stuff like Fuzz or Fight Club, because maybe you just missed them and stuck to stuff like Insurance Fraud and Mayhem to get respect, it's definitely worth loading up the game again because of how good they are. I mean, there's people glitching out of Fuzz to play the game as a cop simulator because the activity was so well done that it's so much more fun to play as. And I 100% recommend to every single person who owns Saints Row 2, if you've never played Fuzz or Fight Club, go and do that now. As I mentioned earlier, car customization, in my opinion, is not the level of Saints Row 3. However, the car selection is. The car selection in this game is pretty good. I don't know if it's my favourite car selection, if I'm being 100% honest, but it's definitely up there. I really like the cars in this game, and I think, again, it's only rivaled by 3. It's more of a preference thing, but this game does have more wacky and cool cars, like the O-Ring, for example, which is like a little fast food truck. I think I have some gameplay me driving. I'll show that later on. Me just driving around with it. It's kind of cool, and I think it does actually add to the game's like funny aesthetic that it goes for, the gritty, serious game with a nice bit of comedy, which I really like that. Alright, now we're going to get on to quite a big point, and I'm telling you, this is a point that goes under the radar with every single Saints Row game, but it is needed in games to be good, and Saints Row 2 does it amazing. The NPCs, God, they get so just underlooked, and I'm telling you, they make this city feel so alive. There's always so much going on. You can go into a back garden of some random house, anywhere in the city, and you'll see a few NPCs just chilling by a pool. Or smoking, or that, like, they are just doing weird things, and as stupid as that sounds, that's stuff I appreciate when trying to explore the map. I don't want to go around this desolate city of people just walking around like Steelport. In this game, it's not like that. You can go to the casino and see people playing the slots, you can see people chilling in the pool, you can see people walking around skating. They're just doing everything that, like, life actually is, and I think it's important to acknowledge that, because in these newer games, we just haven't seen them, and I really hope that in the Saints Row reboot, it does come back. But yeah, the NPCs are fantastic. I don't think there's much more I can say without fear of waffling here. We're reaching the 10-minute mark. We've probably overtook it, actually, after finished editing. And I think it's important that we just get on with the conclusion at this point. Saints Row 2 is what Saints Row should be about. It set the standard for these games. I love Saints Row 3. It goes up there with some of my favourite games of all time. But everyone can see that Saints Row 2 is objectively a better game. Nothing to do with preferences, it's just a better game. And I think that it really should have set the standard for the future games instead of just being what everyone else wanted back. They missed an opportunity, but I don't think it's all bad. Saints Row 2 is great. I recommend it to every single person I know. When people go, what's your favourite game? I go, Skyrim, then Saints Row 2. Sometimes switch them around, but Saints Row 2's up there, okay? And I think Saints Row fan, not Saints Row fan, should all play this game. 100%. It's a shame we're probably never going to see a remaster with how, like, everyone has reacted to the fact of this reboot. It probably won't sell well, sadly. But I think it definitely is important to just acknowledge that this game is great. It has so much charm to it, so much character, and just so much to it that's great. But that does bring us to the end of the Saints Row in 2021 saga. I've done every single one. What else can I really do here? I mean, I could do Get Out of Hell, if you guys want that. Would you like a Get Out of Hell? It'll be a shorter video, but I think I could get a few points across. I could do Agents of Mayhem, maybe. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of that game, but I don't really have the game, so I can't do any gameplay. But I'll have to just find some gameplay I can use, maybe just use the trailers. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you for the support on this little series. The videos have all done very well from this little, like, saga of, you know, Saints Row in 2021. And I can't thank you enough. But yeah, this is the end now, the final one. I finally got it finished. I've put in the time. I originally had this at a longer length, but I just ended up waffling, so I think we'll just cut it down to this perfect length here. So thank you all for watching again, and I'll see you guys soon.
Or down a nice part of the city. If
I
you
think
want
that's
to
the most
most
about
of
it.
the
Damn.
putting up with
I'm
it.
moving to Canada.